Hey guys, Thomas here. I've got the Stack version 3.4 out, and I wanted to just do a very short video. I'm not going to go through all the settings, but needless to say, I found ones that worked really well. I've exported the Cura settings, and that's a file that's up on Umagine as well, so you can take a look at those. Biggest thing you have to remember, 0.2 millimeter layer height. You have to do that for this to work really well, and then ironing turned on. So the big two pieces of how this works are pretty simple. There's a modifier frame that you need to drag out. So if I drag that out on here, you're going to get this giant thing. And really the key here is you want to change this to a per model setting and change this to modify this so that when it overlaps in another model, we're going to adjust the settings. And in this case, the only one we actually care about is ironing. So you turn on ironing, and anytime that this model, which is essentially 20 thin lines, interacts with another model, it's going to change the settings. And really we're doing that to iron the bottom of the visors as we do them. So the next thing, I'm just going to pull in a 5-point mask here. So let me go back and get out of that. Or a 5-layer mask, and you'll see here are the 5 visors. And so I can basically slice this. And when I do that, get rid of the part settings here while it's slicing. What happens is with the ironing turned on, and there being a gap in between each of these visors, it will always iron the top of the model, which is awesome, right? But we want to get the bottom actually ironed as well. So if we zoom in on this, right? So let me zoom in. Maybe if zooming in wants to work. There we go. So I print the bottom a little bit slower. The rest of it goes pretty quick. You'll see that there's a couple layers of bottom, infill, the top, and then you'll see this color change right there, which is actually that slight color variation. That's the ironing of the top of the first visor. The next layer after that is actually the bottom of visor number 2. The thing I want to do with that overlay, and this is why it's important, is that because it's modifying settings, what actually happens is the next layer, so it prints out the first layer and then it irons. And by doing that ironing, it helps fill in any of those little gaps that are there. And so this is one of the reasons it's really important of that 0.2 millimeter layer height plus the ironing. This comes out about as good as you could expect a single visor stack to come out. And so if you go up, you'll see again the same sort of thing with infill, the top, there's the ironing of visor number 2, and now we'll get the bottom layer of visor number 3. We'll get another ironing, and then as we move up, the same thing. And so again, there's the ironing of top of number 3, bottom of number 4, ironing, and it would go on, so on and so forth. And you'll notice all those other layers don't really matter. They just get ignored by Cura because they're not interacting with anything. So in this case, I've got 5 visors that are stacked. It will iron the bottom and iron the top. That's pretty much it. The one other thing I will say in this very short video is this is not for everyone. It took me a long time to get these settings working on my Lulzbot Test 6. Try it out. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, do 2 masks, 1 mask, whatever, or visor, whatever works on your printer. This is never going to compete with that for speed. It just can't, because we're doing ironing and I'm doing a bunch of other little things and tweaks around speed and whatnot that just make it not work as fast as just printing off 2. I can print off 2 in about an hour and a half when I've got 2 on my bed. When I do this, you can see it's going to take about 5 hours, and honestly, this really means it's going to be probably 6, maybe 7. But the idea here is not to compete from speed, but to help you on overnight prints or where you can't be in front of your printer all day, and you can go off and say, hey, I want you to print 10 or 20 of these visors, and I can come back. And even if half fail, yes, you're wasting filament, but at least you got more than 2 that you would have normally had, or 1. So hopefully this was informative. You can always hit me up on Master for Docs Slack channel. I'm on Twitter as Kix1979, and you can find me in those 2 places primarily. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.